Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Oh, I could just go on and on with these because these are so incredible. The last one that I want to give you has to do with Matthew 25, 36 to 40. I'll just shorten it down. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So I have tons more. Call me, check me out, go to the website, and I'll share the rest of them with you if anybody else wants more. But Lefford, see, this is what we're trying to tell people. Every single one of us, when we finally have that right relationship with the Lord, in our hearts, we want to be there for our brothers and sisters. We want to give to others. And a lot of people, they don't know how to do that. They want to, but they just don't know how to get started. And a lot of people, they have afflictions. And so I have some answers, but I want to ask you to lead us through what you think would be a partial solution for people that are down and out and struggling, that are going through all the adversities of life. What is some of your advice that you want to give today?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think in the biggest times in my life when I was going through some of my most tragic times in my mind is when I would start giving to others. That actually pulled out, and as Mother Teresa said, you don't have to save the world. You just have to take care of one person, and just reach out and do something for one person. It can change your life. And I'll give you a short story, and I'll make it really short. In 1986, right before my son Calvin was born, my mother passed. I was 21 years old. I'm a mama's boy. And I was so broken because I didn't know. I was supposed to be happy because I was going to be a father for the first time. But I was devastated because I just lost my mother and I was a mama's boy. And I was so stuck in focusing on me. I was focusing on me and my pain and all that stuff. And John Gunther was a tech sergeant in the Air Force, and he told me, now he wasn't necessarily nice. He told me that I needed to pull my head out and that I was letting this pain cripple me, and I had a son and a wife I had to take care of. And so what I had to do was start taking care of my family. When I started to take care of my family, it lifted me out of the burden that I was feeling. So one of the biggest and the first things I tell anybody to do, no matter what you're going to, one, know that God's got you, but the other side, know that if you can give unto somebody else, if you can love somebody else, if you can feel somebody else, then that will ease your pain. That is the muscle that will save you when you're not focusing on yourself, but you're focusing on someone else. Because, to be honest, you can't give what you don't have, right? So if you don't have something inside of you that's goodness, you can't give goodness. And when you find yourself looking to give something to the least of thee, when you're looking to do that, then you're opening up yourself for your continued blessing. As far as, again, since it's Veterans Day, and many of us know this, those that don't, only 1% of the population will ever serve in uniform. Only 1%. Take that opportunity to say thank you to those people that are doing that. One of the most beautiful things, if you're looking for somebody to say thank you to or somebody to help, one of the beautiful things about a calendar is that if you go buy a calendar, even go to the insurance guy and get a free one, almost every month of the year, there's something on there that's a holiday. And all you have, if it's Christmas, thank somebody that's Christmas stuff. If it's Thanksgiving, do something for somebody in Thanksgiving way. The calendar will give you ways to reach out and help people, and I'm convinced that when we help people, we get more out of it. That's why I think in all those verses you talked about, and all that scripture, every bit of it talks about giving to somebody else and serving somebody else. And when you give and when you serve, you actually receive more than what you put out.
Yes, you do.
Does that make sense, Steve?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. So, Lefford, we've got 15 minutes, give or take, something of that nature, maybe almost 20, I'm not sure. In what we're talking about today, there's a subject that you and I are going to be doing some talking about, but I don't think we're going to get too far into it today, since this is really flowing beautifully with Veterans Day and the servant's heart and what we're doing, and how to get into how to own your own mind a little bit. But let me throw this out there, full well knowing that we're not even going to scratch the surface today, and we'll get you back in a couple weeks and continue the same conversation, okay?
We'll give it a go.
Okay, so here's what I want to sort of change the theme of what we're doing here. The military service that a lot of people have, they come out of the military and they have a really, really hard time. PTSD is a, do we want to call it an illness, a condition? What would you say PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder? What would you call it?
Post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a disorder, and there are parts of it that can turn into a mental illness like depression and anxiety. It's a serious thing. We talked about this a little bit. When I worked at the Department of Correction, we had 22,000 inmates in the state system, and of those 22,000, 2,000 of them were veterans. Many suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered with anxiety disorder, with traumatic brain injury, and they went into that. They went into service. They fought. They were deployed. They weren't necessarily able to talk about what their issues were, and so some of them are coming back struggling, and they need help. I'm going to Arlington next week to intern to be a part of a ceremony where one of my good buddies has been interned. He was a full colonel young man. He would be 54 right now. And he actually had PTSD, and because of his position and his rank and the number of deployments that he needed to go to, he didn't go get help. And so it basically took his life. He self-medicated, and he did some things and didn't go get help because it wasn't a manly thing to do or a leadership thing to do in his mind to go get help. And PTSD is tragic, man. We lose so many people to that disorder. I know you've probably heard that we lose 22 veterans per day to suicide in this country. Men and women that have served our country, that have given the good fight, and they've come back and they've not been able to adjust. And that's what I call tragedy.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to a close friend of mine yesterday, and he has PTSD, and he fights every single day to stay in control of his mind. And so we won't go much further in the specifics at the moment. We'll do a whole show on it again. But you did mention to me in a conversation that when they have to stay silent, when they come out of the military and they've been trained for combat and they've got their weapons and they have their mission and they're the most focused people in the world to be doing what the United States government directs them to do without questioning. That's what we're thanking them for, is to give that kind of service to our country so the rest of us can be here safe and sound. But a lot of them, when they come back, they don't have that mission anymore. And they've seen so many things that they were asked to do, that they were told to do, that comes into their head. And so the friend of mine that I was talking to, sometimes he'll have a flashback and he's triggered back into a moment of something that is a dark spot in his life. There's people that have the same thing that aren't military, that go back to some, perhaps a person that's had a trauma, a rape victim or something of this nature. People see things in their head that they can't let go of. And so let's talk about some techniques right now from how to own your own mind that will strengthen people's ability to cope with life and to become successful in whatever they set their mind to. If you'll turn, Lefford, you got the book with you there?
I do.
Okay.
I do have the book.
I put this on the back of like a business card. I mean, like a full page thing. It's not a business card. It's a flyer I pass out now. Page 146, please, 147. How to Own Your Mind by Napoleon Hill. Go to Amazon.com and get it. And while you go to Amazon.com, read all the reviews on it, and you'll see a review for a book called Journeys to Success. And I just want to put in a plug. I'm one of the 31 authors in this book. It's the first time I've ever been published formally. I've got workbooks and curriculum and things, but never a product on Amazon. I'm chapter 12. Read the book. It's also a Kindle version that you might get. So I'll hold it up again for those of you live streaming. And by the way, you might want to go to the Right Thinking Facebook. Right Think Found, because while we're talking today, Lefford had sent me a family album, so to speak, of about 20 pictures of his life in the military. And I want to tell you, it gives me chills to see hey, don't take this wrong, anybody, but, you know, everybody likes to see a man in a uniform. You know, it does something for you. Lefford you should see him when he was 19 years old. Hey, I'm a martial arts instructor, but I would have run from that guy if he would wanted to tangle with me. I would have said, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever I might have done to offend you. Lefford, you are a handsome man in uniform. I'll tell you that. And but anyway, go to Facebook.
You're only saying that because it's true.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Hey, one of the pictures that I really point out, I said, what are you sitting on? It was the camouflage. This is a real situation. And you said it was like an anti-artillery gun. And it had
anti-aircraft weapon.
Yeah, that was an impressive picture. But everybody, go to Facebook, Right Thinking Foundation, Right Think Found, and look at today's show. View it, because while we're talking, Chuck is getting better and better at production here. And I can't wait to see it afterwards. I don't know what he's putting up right now, but I did get about 20 photographs of Lefford's military career, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, Lefford, I'm going to do some speed reading here, and then you take it over for the next 5 minutes and just emote. On page 146, it starts here. The major benefits of organized thinking. I want every single person to learn and follow up on what I'm saying, because this is the best thing I can pass out to anybody. Napoleon Hill says, this is an interview with Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, who he got the secrets of success from, the principles of success. Mr. Carnegie, will you briefly describe the major benefits of organized thinking from the viewpoint of the man who wishes to make the best use of his time and ability? Carnegie, the benefits are so numerous that it is difficult to decide where to begin or where to stop. But these are some of the more obvious benefits of this habit. We're talking about the benefits of thinking properly, getting your mind organized. This book teaches you not just what you need to do, it gives you exactly how to do it. It gives you examples, and there's nothing better that I've ever come across on this subject. A, organized thinking enables one to become the master of his own mind. This he accomplishes by training his faculty of will to control his emotions, turning them on and off as occasion may require. Hey, Lefford, why don't we alternate? You read B.
Organized thinking forces one to work with definiteness of purpose, thereby enabling him to set up a habit that prohibits procrastination.
C. It develops the habit of working with definite plans instead of blundering ahead by the hit or miss method.
It enables one to stimulate the subconscious mind to greater action and more ready response in the attainment of desired ends, instead of allowing the subconscious mind to respond to the trap, thoughts, and destructive influences of one's environment.
It develops self-reliance.
It gives one the benefit of the knowledge, experience, and education of others through the medium of the Mastermind Alliance, which is an important medium used by all thinkers. Can I stop right there for a second?
Absolutely.
And the reason I want to stop right there, you ask, what can they do? One of the main things that a person can do that's struggling with PTSD, and know that you're not by yourself. The mastermind process is when you're coming alongside of people that are like-minded to help you walk through. Because, Steve, I said this many times, but it bears repeating. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So the people that you know, love, and trust will be your wingman that can be around you that says, hey, I got you, man, or got you, girl. What are you struggling with? So I just wanted to leave that right there, because I think that's powerful.
Yeah, another paraphrase for that is, it's your